Welcome back to the table. I am glad that you have joined me. Welcome. Whether you're driving in the car or you're at home and you have this on your big screen, welcome to the table. Today, we are picking up the conversation that we had last episode. I was going to say last week, but I think it's 2 weeks ago. We are picking up that conversation. A few weeks ago, we talked about you being the playmaker of your story. You are the playmaker of this thing called life. You have everything that it takes, all the skills, the talent, the ability inside of you. You were made on purpose, for purpose. You are a playmaker. Today, I want to continue this conversation about a playmaker. And I want to talk to you about a key component of what is needed for you to be a really good playmaker. Remember, a playmaker, now this is you. A playmaker is someone who has the freedom to control the flow of the team's play. A playmaker is someone who is involved in both the offense and the defense. A playmaker is someone that uses their confidence to see vision in the court, to make plays according to the vision. They use their confidence to be creative, and they use their abilities to make plays happen. You are a playmaker. But there's one crucial component to being a playmaker that you have to make plays happen. Are you ready for this? A playmaker, a team, you have to have a playbook, right? In order to know the plays, in order to know what play the coach calls and what to do with the play, you have to have the playbook. See, you need to know the plays inside that playbook. So when the plays are called out, you can begin to position and reposition things that are on your court of life to make a goal, to have success. Remember, you can be a quarterback, you can be the center, you can be a point guard. But unless you know the plays, you cannot reposition the moving pieces on your court. And so the question is, do you have a playbook? Do you even know where your playbook is? Do you know what a playbook is? Are you familiar with the plays? See, this playbook that I'm talking about is going to give you the victory that is needed for your life. It's so important. It's so important. So I want you to imagine this book, this playbook that you have. I imagine my playbook maybe leather, bound in leather, and on the front of it, it has my name in big letters. And inside of this book of plays, it has notes written of things that I really enjoy and things that I might not so much enjoy. It has paragraphs and sketches of what the things that I'm good at, my abilities and my talents, and how to use those to the best of my abilities on the court to move things forward. I envision my book with my name on it, with my favorite things, with my favorite plays, with the things that I like and the things that I love about the sport that and the game of life that I'm playing. See, your book that has your name on it is designed specifically for you. It has everything you like and you enjoy in this playbook. It has plays that can get us out of a jam. But here's the thing. There's two books. There's two books that seemingly look identical. They both have your name on the front. For my books, they're both leather because that's what I envision. But there's a difference on the outside of these books. One book, in the position, in the spot on the book where you would read the author's name, one book has my name on it. The other playbook that has my name written maybe in gold font on the leather back, the binding of the book. At the bottom where it says author, the author on this particular book is God my Father. See, on the outside, these two books look the same, but on the inside, they are vastly different. And I want to read to you a few things I wrote down about the differences of these two playbooks. Your playbook, the book that has your name in the author spot, that book has a limited viewpoint, and it consists of what you have seen today and what you have seen in your past, the things that you've experienced. God, the Father, his playbook for you, his book sees the future, and his book knows how it will all come together. Your book has been written through years of your pain and your heartache. The plays in the book that you've written down have been based on what you've experienced in the past. But see, his book, the book with him as the author, his book was written before you were born, and it shows you now how your growth through those painful experiences builds a better tomorrow. Your book, the one that you wrote, it has a full section of plays that will be played as a defense. But these defense plays, you will find yourself cornered into a place where you feel your only way out is self-harm. But his book is filled with defense plays that will defend you against the enemy, defend you against pain and heartache. And these plays will lead you through the heartache and into victory. See, your book keeps you separated from others, but his book shows you a better way in relationships. Your book, the book that you wrote, the book that I've written for myself, has a section of offensive plays. Plays that positioned me to be the only one who could make the winning play. See, my book that I wrote, it created this thing on the inside of me of performance that felt like a crushing weight. And maybe your book is the same. Maybe you've written yourself as the star and the only one able to win the game in your book, and that weight feels crushing. But see, his book of offensive plays uses a unique design and strategy that only God can pull together. His book, it has sketches that reveal how things navigate and weave together, and it reveals a much larger picture of where the weight is actually on his shoulders, not ours. See, your book was written based on what you've seen maybe in others, what you see on social media, where oftentimes we'll look at other people and we want to make our winning formula based on their winning formula. And it begins this sad and arduous process of trying to be like other people to find their winning formula for ourselves. But from start to finish, his book is unique to you. It has plays and strategies based on your skill set that only you can carry. The skill set that he's put inside of you that is needed for your story as a playmaker. See, his book of plays that he's created for you, they'll navigate any season. But the book of plays that I've written for myself based on past seasons, man, that book of play, it's limited. So I remember a few years ago, we had just dropped our daughter off at college, at a private college in another state. And Our son was still living at home, but he was in flight school and he was wrapping up. He had finished high school, I think, and he was in college as well and in flight school. And I just dropped my daughter off at this particular college, and I'd spent a week down there. My husband couldn't make it. He was on a trip, and we'd set up her apartment and did the mini fridge and the new comforter and everything needed for the bathroom and organizing cubes. And I had stocked her mini fridge and gotten her all the snacks. We went to Sam's, and it was a wonderful experience. And I flew back home. I had landed that night, went to bed, and that evening about midnight, I get a phone call from my husband. Remember, this is on the heels of something that is like a parent's dream when you move your daughter into their apartment that for the college life. And it was a dorm, in the dorm. And it's this like sense of accomplishment, and you're kind of releasing your children into the next season of life. And we're helping her financially. And it was on the heels of that excitement. And I'm laying in bed and I get a phone call at midnight. And I could tell on the other end of the phone that my husband's voice sounded different. And whenever you pick the phone up and you just know deep down in your gut that something's wrong, before the other person says hello, that something is, it's not going as planned. So he began to tell me that he had just lost his job. And immediately I just started crying. I jumped out of bed and I'm pacing the house and I'm saying, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And he was so steady and so calm. And I was the one that was a mess on the other end of the phone. And all that I could think about was I just dropped our daughter off and our son is in flight school, and the finances that we have going out to just make our ends meet day to day based on our salary that we had made. How in the world will we survive? I never saw this coming. In all of our years of marriage and all of our years of living, never had he been let go from a job or been without a job. We had always had the steady paycheck. And now all of a sudden, I needed a different play. I didn't know what to do. I had two options. I had two playbooks that I could choose from. I could choose to pick up the playbook, the one that was bound in leather, that has my name on the front, but the author spot has my name on it. And in that playbook would be plays of my history and what I've done in the past and how I've navigated scary things in the past. But it had nothing to do with what I was dealing with right now. There was no play in that playbook that could have matched the feelings, the emotions, the fear, the insecurity, the anger that I was experiencing in that moment. I had to pick up a different playbook. The one that looked similar from the outside, but the difference was this was God's playbook and not mine. Because in his playbook, he was going to give me a play and he was going to help me navigate something that I would win through this season, that our family would come out victorious. I am so grateful that I picked up his playbook. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that first out of the gate, I picked up the right playbook at the right time. I picked up his playbook. No. There was a lot of tears and there was a lot of counsel, and we leaned into our parents and our friends. And at that time, I had a counselor that I was meeting with on a regular basis, and we leaned into the support of those people that were around us to say, I didn't see this coming. It was kind of like dribbling down the court and the opponent swipes the ball as you're making a pass, and now it's been turned over to the other team. It felt like a turnover. The other team is running down the court and they have got the basketball that I was going to make the goal with. Now what? I chose to lean into God's playbook. Surprisingly enough, the play that he told me was to rest, relax, and trust. That was not the play that I wanted. I wanted an aggressive play. I wanted to charge down and defend hard and go toe to toe with the situation that took my basketball from me, and I wanted to go get that back. But instead, the playbook that he had said, I want you to take a deep breath, and I want you to lean back in me. I want you to rest. I want you to trust. And I'm going to give you a play that you didn't see coming, a play that you never would have imagined before. But just wait 1 second. Hold steady and wait for me to call the next play. I'm so glad I did. That year that we were without a job, it was a year that we were provided for in ways that I would have never imagined. A few months after that happened, my husband and I both felt like he needed to step into the contract world of his profession. And that is something he would have never chosen to do before. It's something that requires a little bit of a different mindset around finances. And it's either feast or famine. But we said yes to the play. He stepped into it. And I wish I could say it was smooth sailing for 1 year. We saw great rewards, but we also didn't know if the rewards would be over 1 month to the next month. And it was a lot of hard work. It was kind of like going back into the gym and learning the play and repeating the play over and over again and getting proficient with the play. It was really hard. And I'm reminded through that time about what it says in Proverbs 29:18. It says, without vision, people perish. Without vision, people throw off restraint. I will say, I wanted in those moments and in those days in that year of not knowing what was next, I wanted to throw off some restraint. I wanted to throw some fists. I wanted to take back control. But I was reminded through that playbook of the vision for my life. God gave us vision for that moment. And I think that's the beauty of the playbook. The playbook for our life has vision in it that we would never see by ourselves. And he gives us vision for our tomorrow in sometimes the hardest seasons of our life. And I had a choice at that moment what to do. Was I going to say yes to the play that I had never seen before and say yes to the right playbook, or was I going to do it on my own? It reminds me of a funny story. Probably not funny. It wasn't funny in the moment, but now we can laugh about it. So one time my daughter, remember, she played basketball and her team had played a horrible game. And they were supposed to beat this other team. They didn't. But the problem was they did not know the plays. Now, I can't remember if it was early on in the season. I can't remember if it was at the end of the season and they should have known better. I don't remember. But they weren't following through with the play. So the coach on the sideline would call a play, and my daughter, being the point guard, or maybe she didn't know the play, or she would call the play and then the other player on the court didn't know the play. So as they ran down the court, they were in the wrong formation. So they didn't pass the ball correctly, and it was just a mess. During that game, the coach was so angry. He was so furious that he was calling plays, and it was a chaotic mess on the court because the players did not know the play. They didn't study the plays that they'd been given or anything like that. He had the plays on a clipboard. And through the course of that game, he got so angry that he broke the clipboard with the plays on it over his knee. I've never seen such a thing. I'm surely that hurt. But anyway, so the next morning or like on Monday when they went back to practice, my daughter said that when they walked through the doors, in the middle of the court is the playbook on the clipboard, cracked in half, and the paper split down the middle, and it's laid in two pieces on the court. Wow. I am for sure probably that day, it was a rough game. It was not a rough game. I'm sure that day it was a rough practice. I'm sure there was a lot of running that was involved. Now, God, the author of our playbook, does not break clipboards over his knees. I think, though, oftentimes that's what we think. We think that he has this book of plays, and that if we don't execute it to perfection, if we don't listen every single time, that he is going to be so angry, he's going to break the clipboard over his knee, and the game's going to be lost. And that's not true. See, we serve a God that is loving, that is kind, that knows the correct play at the correct time. But when we don't do the plays correctly, or when we don't listen to the plays, when maybe we don't throw the ball at the right time, he doesn't break the clipboard over his knee. What he does is he reaches out the playbook to you again, and he says, son and daughter, let's look at the play again. And he does this to us over and over again. But I think sometimes out of fear, we assume he's breaking clipboards. He's not. He's offering it to us again. But in our fear, I think what we do is we turn around and we face the other direction out of fear of what we think might happen. But he's just extending the playbook again. I have this picture in my mind when I think about this dynamic between myself and my father and this playbook analogy. And I picture myself on the court of life, and I'm the playmaker, and I'm trying to figure things out. And even today with you and doing this podcast and here in this new space and in my new office, and even trying to get to this place to be with you today, there were so many times that I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. I'm mad. I'm fearful. And I imagine me like in that space on the court, dribbling the ball, trying to figure out how to navigate all of this to be here with you. And I'm like frantic on the court with the basketball. And he so joyfully is sitting with me, but he's watching and he's saying, and I just have this picture that he has this my playbook, and he's like, daughter, oh, I've got the perfect play for this. And he licks his finger and flips the pages. I've got the perfect play, and do this. Lean forward and reach your hand out for this, and make a phone call to this person, and it's going to work out. Trust me. And it's this joyful delight that we have together, navigating and playing this game of life that we have. So you might ask, where in the world do I get this playbook? Maybe you're like, okay, look, I've been playing with the wrong playbook all my life. I don't know where this playbook is. First of all, let me assure you, you have one. So I don't want you to be fearful. I don't want you to think like, I don't have a playbook. Remember, he thought about you before the creation of the world. He knows who you are. He knows every hair on your head. And so take a deep breath. There's a playbook with your name on it. So first and foremost, I want you to know that there is a book that is full of life and full of revelation, and it's called the Bible. In that book, it's like this breath of life that comes off the pages. And so, hey, you've got one in your hand today. Go pick it up. Go read. And, sometimes we think, oh, that playbook is so boring. I remember times when my daughter was supposed to be studying her playbook, and she wouldn't want to do it. But when she was faced with a play on the court, man, she was glad she did. She was glad that she knew the play the coach called out. So get in that Bible of yours. It's got revelation in there that's going to blow your mind. And it's got strategies that are going to help you navigate this thing called life. Okay, here's another thing. In order to get this playbook that I'm talking about, you have to lay down your playbook first. Friends, I think our hands are too full. I think we have our playbook with our name as the author, with two hands clenching it with like our dear life. And God is saying, would you lay down your playbook that you've created through fears and insecurity and pain, and would you just open up your hands? And when we do, there's a playbook that falls right in our laps, right in our hands, and it's his playbook. So I think sometimes we're saying, where's the playbook? Where's your playbook? And he's saying, son and daughter, put yours down. I would love to give you mine. Okay, here's another thing. If you're wondering where your playbook is, ask. Ask. God says, ask and you shall receive. He is a good God, and he wants to give you the strategy to navigate this. So just ask. God, can I have your playbook for my life? And when you do, I want you to do this. Stop, look, and listen. I want you to pay attention to what's around you. I want you to listen to God's Spirit. I want you to listen to your heart and follow peace. It's a beautiful thing. See, as a playmaker, we are confident in our position, and we will eagerly listen to the plays that's being called. But sometimes he calls us to plays we've never heard of, and so we have to trust him. I'll tell you from my experience, every time he's called a play that I haven't heard of, a play that I've never experienced before, I go back and I say, okay, does this line up with the character and the nature of who I know you to be? Is there peace in my heart? And even underneath all of the layers of maybe like, I don't know if this is going to work, there's a steady stream of peace. I say yes to the play because I know that he's going to lead me and guide me. And you know what? If I mess up, he's not breaking clipboards. He's leaning in and he's saying, come here, son and daughter. Let's look at the play again. Let's review the play. It's right here for you. So know the coach. Read the correct playbook. Get the correct playbook in your hand and ask God for fresh revelation and strategy. He is so good at strategy. See, his plan is the best plan, and his plays are always the better play. You're awesome. You have everything that it takes. You are a playmaker, and using the correct playbook, you are going to win at life.